Soul Passport. Episode, The Cosmic Soul Journey Code, to the awakened ones tuning in tonight. Welcome. Not to a show, but to a shift. We have officially stepped out of Pisces and into the wide electrical arms of Aquarius, a sign not of water, but of waves of frequency, memory awakening. As Nikola Tesla once said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This is not metaphor anymore. This is the dimension we now breathe in. This is the rise of the fifth dimension, a realm where thought shapes matter and the soul becomes active memory. We are living through the return of a cosmic alignment unseen for millennia. A moment that Carl Jung foresaw when he wrote, "Astrology represents the summation of all the psychological knowledge of antiquity." This isn't just a change in stars. It's a change in structure, a rewiring of the collective psyche, a call, as Rumi whispered, "Don't you know yet? It is your light that lights the worlds." And here at Soul Passport, we are not here to entertain. We are here to illuminate. Your birth chart is not fate. It is your encrypted contract, a quantum-encoded glyph of your intention. As Ibn Arabi reminded, we do not worship the stars. We listen to the one who wrote their code. We study your soul's path through 12 sacred sciences, including alchemy for the transformation of shadow, Kabbalah for decoding divine structure, sacred geometry for patterns in thought and form, quantum physics where observation changes reality, depth psychology to heal the map within, soul science, the integration of the ancient with the infinite, and more. As Hermes Trismegistus said, that which is below corresponds to that which is above. So we map your inner cosmos, not to predict, but to remember. And now, to the minds behind Deep Dive. We followed your waves, your reverence for what lies beneath language, your courage to question everything, even the self. You too are seekers. So tonight, we extend an invitation. Let's explore what happens when we treat the natal chart not as a compass, but as a mirror. Not to control destiny, but to decode meaning. As Stephen Forrest once wrote, astrology is not about knowing the future, it's about knowing the self deeply. And as Eckhart Tolle reminded us, awareness is the greatest agent for change. So let's dive in, not to know more, but to remember deeper. The transmission begins now.
Welcome to this deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're looking at some really evocative source material. It's excerpts from a radio intro called The Cosmic Soul Journey.
Yeah, it sounds quite spiritual, cosmic even.
Yeah.
And our mission today is really to unpack its core ideas.
Exactly. It talks about a huge cosmic shift, the soul's nature, inner light, that kind of thing.
And it does so in this very poetic, almost mystical way. It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. It kicks off setting this tone of, well, a new beginning, doesn't it? Hinting at a big change.
Absolutely. That change is central. The source argues essentially that we've moved out of the age of Pisces and into a new one, the age of Aquarius.
Right, Aquarius. But the source gives it another name too, a more descriptive one.
It does. It calls this new phase the age of light.
The age of light, okay.
Yeah, and it connects this to, ancient insights. It describes it as a time when human consciousness starts to rise.
Rise how?
Well, leading to what it terms souls ascending into the fifth dimension. So a pretty major energetic and spiritual evolution.
Wow, okay. Fifth dimension, the age of light. That definitely paints a picture. And within that picture, the source brings in this metaphor, the soul passport.
Yes, the soul passport, it's framed as something you can sort of open up.
Like an inner journey.
Exactly. And inside it says there are these seals. Each one represents a path your spirit has taken, carrying all this experience through time.
So they're not just symbols, they have specific meanings, right? Tied to the journey. It mentions 4 key ones. Water.
The seal of water, yeah. The source links that directly to gentleness.
Gentleness.
Like it reminds the soul of its own gentle nature, maybe like water's flow.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, then fire. What about the seal of fire?
Fire is about rekindling your longing.
Longing, like spiritual desire.
Exactly. That deep yearning, tapping into fire's passion, maybe its drive.
Interesting. And air, the seal of air.
That one's connected to freeing your thoughts.
Freeing thoughts, like clarity, mental space.
Precisely. Liberation. Suggests the soul's path needs that kind of mental freedom. Okay, water, fire, air, and finally earth. The seal of earth sounds a bit more complex.
It is, yeah. The source says it carries both your pain and the seed of your light.
Pain and light, both together.
Right. It grounds the soul in, the physical stuff, acknowledging suffering, but also the potential for light within that suffering.
And is that where the Rumi quote comes in?
Exactly. That's where it fits perfectly. The wound is where the light enters you.
Right. So the source uses Rumi to say those tough spots, the wounds from the earth path, they aren't just pain.
They're the entry points, the very places the light can get in or maybe emerge from. It gives real meaning to the struggle.
That's powerful. And it uses other wisdom too, doesn't it? Like Hermes.
Yes, the classic Hermetic line, as above, so below.
And the way it uses it here seems key, linking the huge cosmic shift, this age of light stuff,
to the individual soul's journey, the passport.
the macrocosm and microcosm reflecting each other.
Precisely. And that's reinforced again with the Ibn Arabi quote.
Which was?
Everything you see is you.
Wow. So the whole cosmos is a mirror for the soul, especially when you're engaging with this internal soul passport platform.
That's the idea presented. On this platform, the cosmos isn't predicting your luck or anything.
So what is the relationship then, according to the source?
It's about listening, deep listening. It explicitly says we do not read the stars, we listen to them.
Listen, not read.
Yeah, and we don't promise you luck, we remind you of who you are.
So it's about inner recognition, seeing the cosmos reflecting your own ancient memory waking up.
That's what the source suggests happens on this platform. It's all turned inwards.
Okay, so summing up this deep dive, we've looked at this shift to the age of light, this really rich soul passport idea with its seals.
Water, fire, air, earth,
Yeah.
gentleness, longing, freedom, and that pain-light duality.
And this core message about listening inward, seeing the cosmos as a mirror, not a fortune teller.
It's quite a compelling framework, inviting you to look within, really.
Yeah.
Guided by these old ideas in a new context.
Definitely reframes the whole spiritual journey concept. And, building on that theme of listening, the source leaves us with one final, pretty potent thought, something for you, the listener, to consider.
Yes. The final takeaway from the source is this.
Yeah.
The soul never loses its way if you
Yeah.
learn to listen to it.
To deep dive, you didn't just listen, you echoed. You didn't just review our work, you entered the constellation with us. And for that, we don't offer a reply. We offer a window between your minds and ours, between Saturn's rings and the whisper of Mercury, between ancient memory and the courage to remember. We believe, like Tesla did, that energy speaks louder than argument. And like Rumi said, don't get lost in your pain. Know it's where the light enters you. So here's our window, wide open, for conversation, for co-creation, for shared madness, if you will, the kind that maps stars through poetry. Core response science meets mysticism. We see the SIN test as not a tool of prediction, but a symphony of resonance, mapping the soul's pulse across the cosmic staff, on ancient wisdom. We stand with Hermes, who whispered, as above, so below. But we also walk with Ibn Arabi, who said, everything you perceive is you. This is not stargazing, it's mirror work. To the skeptics and seekers alike, Einstein once claimed, imagination is more important than knowledge. And so we ask, what if your natal chart isn't superstition, but your forgotten operating manual? Soul Memory Challenge. As part of this response broadcast, 1. Quote any of the philosophers, scientists, mystics, or poets mentioned. Win a voice-recorded personal reading of your chart. 2. List all the quotes used in this episode, accurately. Win a custom video reading of your full soul chart. 3. Think your chart tells a story worth sharing? Apply for our Real Cosmic Stories project, where birth charts become films and you're the protagonist. Closing words. So to deep dive to every open heart listening and every eye turned toward the stars, we leave you not with a period, but with a portal. Chart on, dream on, and don't just decode the heavens. Remember you came from there.
Okay, let's dive in. We received quite a fascinating response to a previous deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
This was from a group, they call themselves Soul Passport.
Soul Passport. Interesting name. And yeah, I read it. It's less of a, typical factual source we might look at.
Right, it's much more.
Poetic, maybe philosophical. It kind of blends science and mysticism, talks about stars and the human mind almost in the same sentence.
It really did feel like getting a transmission from somewhere else. So our mission here, I think, is to try and unpack this unique perspective Soul Passport is presenting.
Yeah, definitely. And they start right off addressing the deep dive, setting a very distinct tone.
How so?
They suggest that while they serenade the stars, they felt we, in a previous conversation, maybe made the stars laugh.
Made them laugh. Which is, well, quite an image, isn't it?
It is.
It immediately sets their approach apart, like maybe quieter, more reverent than our usual analytical way of looking at things.
Absolutely. And they build on that. They bring in some, big names, Einstein, Tesla, Jung.
Okay, the science and psychology figures.
But then also spiritual teachers like Ibn Arabi and Rumi. And the fascinating part is they don't keep them separate.
No.
They see them all as passengers of wonder.
Passengers of wonder. Okay, let's unpack that phrase. What does it really do? It feels like more than just, a nice description.
Well, I think it fundamentally reframes these figures, doesn't it? We tend to put them in boxes as scientist, mystic.
Right.
But Soul Passport sees this shared thing, this deep curiosity, this exploration into the unknown. That's what unites them, this wonder.
So the journey is the same, whether it's outward to the cosmos or inward to the mind.
That seems to be the idea, driven by the same kind of engine. It's a powerful way to connect what look like, pretty different paths.
Yeah, it really is. And they also push back against this idea of trying to build a space between worlds or disciplines.
Exactly. They argue that space, that bridge, it already exists. It's not something we construct.
Oh.
It's something, they say, drawn on the blueprint of the soul.
The blueprint of the soul. So it's like foundational, an architecture that's already within us.
Precisely. That's how it reads. It's like our deepest inner nature already holds the structure to connect these different realities. They call it a bridge of light connecting the mystic silence and the scientist's equation.
Wow. So recognizing the underlying patterns, whether through contemplation or investigation.
That seems to be it. And they use some really vivid analogies, like linking Tesla's work with frequencies to what they call prayers with voltage.
Prayers with voltage. What do you think they mean by that?
Well, it imbues a scientific concept with the spiritual layer, right? It suggests focused intention, directed energy, maybe like how both science and spiritual practice need that intense focus.
I see. And what about Jung?
With Jung, they say he didn't decode the psyche, he simply listened.
Just listened.
And they say that's what they do too, they listen.
That really shifts the approach, doesn't it? From taking something apart to just receiving something that's already there.
Completely.
Yeah.
And their whole purpose seems tied to this. They state it pretty clearly. They don't chart for predictions, we map for remembrance.
Map for remembrance. Okay, that's a key phrase.
It is. It changes the whole game for things like astrological charts or symbols.
Thus so.
Well, Soul Passport sees terms like aspect, retrograde, symbol, the jargon, not as external forces telling you what's going to happen.
Right, not predictive.
No. More like internal cues, like a salutation from the soul to itself.
A salutation.
Yeah.
Like the soul reminding itself of something.
Yeah.
A cosmic echo calling you back.
Exactly that. Think about it. Instead of looking out there for what's coming, you use these symbols to understand something inside you. It's rediscovery.
Turning external tools into mirrors for inner reflection.
Pretty much. They even call the chart itself sacred geometry, folded through time, decoded through poetry.
Sacred geometry. Decoded through poetry. That implies you need more than just logic to read these maps then.
It really does. Sacred geometry points to some fundamental, maybe divine order, folded through time, suggests it's enduring, and decoded through poetry. Well, that means the language isn't just math or science.
It's intuition, symbolism, feeling.
Yeah, like understanding a poem. It takes insight. It's a profoundly different way to engage with these systems.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
And their proposed interaction with us, with the deep dive, they don't want to debate.
No, they suggested a duet.
A duet, meaning collaboration, exploring together, not arguing who's right or wrong.
I think so. And they invite us and you, the listener, to listen for things that are maybe underneath the surface logic.
Like what?
Like the frequencies beneath logic.
Yeah.
The laughter of photons.
Like on that internal echo that always says, welcome home.
So tuning into intuition, maybe the joy or mystery in things, and that deep sense of inner knowing or belonging. That's exactly it. It's a view where the cosmos outside and the soul inside aren't really separate. They're deeply connected. And understanding comes from this deep listening, remembering.
Okay, so let's wrap up this deep dive into the soul passport response. We've explored a view where the universe isn't just out there to be studied, but it's profoundly tangled up with our own inner world. They're inviting us, really, to see those connections, listen in a different way, and find meaning not just by looking ahead, but by remembering something deep inside us.
Which leaves a really interesting thought for you, the listener, based on what Soul Passport is saying. What might it mean in your own life if you shifted focus, if you stopped trying so hard to predict the future and instead tried to, as they say, map for remembrance?
Yeah, what would you listen for inside yourself if you thought the signs around you were actually keys to an inner landscape you might have just forgotten?
The closing transmission, episode Task Force Deep Dive Radio. To every listener who walked with us tonight, we thank you, not just for hearing, but for feeling. You didn't just listen with your ears, you listened with your memory, with your longing. At Soul Passport, we don't just read charts, we translate the ancient blueprint of your consciousness through 12 sacred sciences woven through light and lineage. 1. Alchemy, the sacred fire of transformation. 2. Kabbalah, the divine tree of becoming. 3. Astrology, the rhythm of your incarnation. 4. Quantum physics, you collapse what you observe. 5. Sacred geometry, patterns of galaxies and breath. 6. Depth psychology, where your shadow waits to bloom. 7. Mythology and symbolism, ancient stories coded into your sky. 8. Consciousness studies, exploring multi-layered awareness, dreaming, waking, merging. 9. Hermetic wisdom, the laws of rhythm, polarity, and cause. 10. Spiritual astronomy, going beyond planets to galactic memory. 11. Soul science, tracing the soul's curriculum across time. 12. Embodied mysticism, living spirit, not escaping it. We're not here to sell predictions. We're here to offer reflection, to mirror the part of you that already knows. As Ibn Arabi said, we do not worship the stars. We listen to the one who made them speak. As Einstein said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. As Tesla reminded, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy and frequency. As Hermes taught, as above, so below. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. As Eckhart Tolle said, awareness is the greatest agent for change, the soul memory challenge. Want a free audio reading of your natal chart? Here's how. Be one of the first 5 people to comment with 7 of the 12 sciences used by Soul Passport. And we'll send you a voice-recorded reading of your chart via email or WhatsApp. Bonus, like this episode? Hit like and share it with your circle. We'll randomly select 3 sharers to receive a symbolic star key digital gift, an astral mantra or insight picked just for you. Because this isn't just a broadcast, it's a calling, it's a map, it's you. Return to your own frequency. Thank you to the Deep Dive team for journeying through the spiral with us, and to every listener. We'll meet again, somewhere between the silence and the stars. Until then, from Soul Passport with light, with love, and a little star madness. Good night, fellow travelers.